Oh my gosh, look at that sun right in my eyes. All right, let's get started. Hello friends and welcome. Today is a happy day because this is a happy hips yoga practice. This is going to be short and sweet, a little bit of gentle hatha, a little bit of yin, but a whole lot of stretch around those hips of yours. So put on your comfy clothes, or heck, stay in the clothes you're already in, roll out your yoga mat, and let's get started. Welcome to Yoga with Carolynne. In this channel, you will gain the tools, the knowledge, and the confidence to practice yoga, no matter your size, your age, or your ability to touch your toes. Happy hips, short and sweet. That is what today's practice is all about. The only props that you're gonna possibly maybe need for today's practice, they are absolutely not essential, are yoga blocks. If you don't have yoga blocks at home, then a couple of heavy books will work just fine, but also, again, these are not actually essential for today's practice. So you could basically do this without even a yoga mat. So just yourself on the floor. So we'll start in our first shape, which is a wide-legged child's pose. So making your way onto your hands and your knees. Widen your knees about the width of your mat or a little bit wider than your hips if you don't have a yoga mat today. Toes together, sit yourself onto your heels, and then bring yourself forward. We're starting off in right away in a hip opener. If your forehead doesn't meet comfortably with the mat, you can stack a couple of fists or you can place a block underneath of your forehead. I will encourage that the forehead is grounded on something because it doesn't feel so good for the back of the neck to just kind of be floating above and having to hold itself upright. Because this practice is most definitely about also trying to find some ease. As you settle into this shape, bring your attention to your hips. If you've shown up to this video today, your hips are probably needing a little bit of love and attention. So right off the bat, before we do any of the actual poses and of the intentional breathing, just send your hips a little bit of love. A little bit of thank you, hips, for carrying me through the days. Lots of big muscles in that area of your body, doing lots of work there, so thank you, hips. And begin to just deepen and lengthen your breath. Nothing fancy, nothing crazy, just letting your breath become a little bit more part of your awareness. Maybe you take a couple of sighs. And just take 3 more breaths. Once you have taken those 3 deep breaths, sliding one hand underneath of the shoulder, sliding the other hand underneath the shoulder. We're moving slow here to really be mindful of those hips. So pressing yourself all the way up and then easing yourself out of this shape to press yourself up into your tabletop position. So bringing the knees underneath of the hips. And we're gonna just do a really simple, kind of nothing symmetrical about this next movement. So just begin to kind of sway the hips from side to side. So hips towards the left, hips towards the right as you begin to say, okay, what's going on here? How are they feeling? And then slowly you can begin to create some circles with those hips. So they can start really small depending on how tight you might be feeling in that area. And then slowly the movements can become a little bit bigger. Maybe you really press those hips all the way back into a little bit of a child's pose, and then you can really bring yourself forward, maybe even walking the hands forward and kind of slopping the hips down. So there's nothing perfect. There's no specific destination with this movement. There are circles or there are swaying movements. So take a few minutes to just enjoy this. Beautiful. And then coming back into center, swing the heels over towards one side and bring your butt down onto the mat and bring your legs in front of you. Legs are bent and soles of the feet are on the mat, and bring your hands behind you. And then allow the knees to fall from side to side, from the right to the left. And then allowing both of your knees to fall over towards the left. So I'm mirroring you here. And then you're gonna be creating a 90-degree angle with both of your legs. So the shin of the left leg is parallel to the front of your yoga mat, and then the shin of your right leg is parallel to the side of your yoga mat. So I'm gonna show you what that would actually look like. So your knees are over towards the left, and you've got that 90-degree and 90-degree. This is called deer pose. So this is a pose that is very similar to pigeon pose, if you're familiar with that. It's kind of like the quintessential hip opener. But this one I find is a little bit more accessible and a little more gentle on the hips. So you've got yourself seated upright in this position, and you might be feeling already something. If you want to increase the sensation a little bit, then you can tip yourself forward and down. You can stay high on the hands, or you can bring your forearms down onto the mat. And then this is where your blocks might be helpful. So you can bring a block underneath of your forehead. And then given that I am not in your body here, so you are the one that knows where you're feeling the sensation, where you're feeling the tension. So I'll leave it up to you as to where you want to kind of settle. So if you're not really in a yin state of mind today and you want to find a little bit more movement, then you can kind of explore that shape by walking the hands over towards the right or walking the hands over towards the left. And that will most definitely change where you feel the sensation. Then if you're in that more kind of yin state, then you can find one of those spots if you want to explore a little bit, and then find one of those spots and then settle there. Soften the shoulders again, soften the back of the neck. And we'll just take 3 more deep breaths here. Wonderful. So if you have been finding that movement kind of crawling from side to side, come back into center. And then we will both, nice and slow, walk the hands in, bring the hands behind you, and then bring the soles of the feet back down onto the mat. And then this time, allowing the knees to fall over towards the right, and then kind of swinging that left leg back. So you find that 90-degree angle with both of your legs. So shin of the right leg is parallel to the front of your mat. Shin of the left leg is parallel to the side of your mat. And then go ahead and bring yourself forward. Bring your prop into it here so that forehead can come onto the block, or you can just let the head hang here. It's completely up to you. And again, the options here are either stillness or finding movement, kind of crawling towards one side of the mat, crawling towards the other side. It really does change where you find that sensation, and it'll be a chance for you to notice, okay, this is where I hold my tension, and this is how I can release that tension in my own body. So it really gives you that autonomy to Allow yourself to heal your own body in your own way. So movement or stillness, you are still aware of that breath. And we'll just take 3 more deep breaths wherever you are. Movement or stillness, just 3 more deep breaths. If you are finding that movement coming back into center once you've taken those 3 deep breaths, and then we will both, nice and slow, walk the hands in, bring the hands behind you, swing the legs back in front of you. All right, we're gonna find one last shape here as we're seated upright. So your soles of the feet, again, are on the mat, legs are bent. Hands come behind you. Pick up the right foot, and then hooking that right ankle on the left knee. So this is very, very similar to figure 4 pose when you're lying on your back. However, I find that here it gives you a little bit more of a chance to really find that stretch. And it gives you a little bit more control over how intense that stretch is. So the closer you have that leg towards you, the more stretch you will feel. So it gives you the chance to maybe slide that foot further away from you, or bring that foot in. Hands are behind you to kind of prop yourself up, nice long spine. Flex that right foot to allow yourself to avoid buckling in the ankle. And then I'll just ask that you take 3 more deep breaths. Once you've taken those 3 deep breaths, you can straighten into that right leg or straighten into that left leg to unhook that right ankle. And then we'll come into this shape on the other side. Soles of the feet come back onto the mat if the legs are straight, picking up into the left leg this time, placing the left ankle on the right knee. And again, you choose. So the foot doesn't have to be like super close if this is really uncomfortable. Slide that foot away from you and explore how you can find a sensation, you can find stretch in your body. Three more deep breaths. Once you have taken those 3 deep breaths, unhooking that leg, and then coming into your cross-legged seated position, resting the hands onto the knees. Let's just take 3 nice, beautiful exhales together. Inhale with me. Exhale at the mouth. Inhale. Exhale. Last one, let it go. Inhale. Hands into heart center, press the palms together, thumbs pressing in towards the heart. Take just this last moment to recognize the fact that you showed up today, doing some goodness for your body, for your heart and your mind, and those hips. Fluttering the eyes open. Thank you so much for joining me during this short and sweet happy hips practice. Have a wonderful rest of your day. If you are not a subscriber already, please become one. I would absolutely love for you to be able to have more free, accessible yoga in your life. From my heart to yours, and until next time, namaste.